welcome to CJC Adventures. Carl here, and today I'm going to take a look at one of the mysteries of Tipton. Now, the mystery is Tipton Brook. Now, Tipton Brook, you know, a lot of people have asked me in the past, where does Tipton Brook start? Where does Tipton Brook end? Now, it's a bit of a mystery, but might have solved it in a way. I'm not saying I'm going to solve it completely, but I am going to try and solve it in as many ways as I can, if that makes sense. But yes, it is a mystery. There's nothing online about Tipton Brook at all, really, about where it was built, where it come from, why it's there. It's just a mystery, really. So I'm going to try and solve the mystery as best as I can. Hopefully, roughly about 90% to solve the mystery. So, without further ado, let's go and take a look at Tipton Brook and where it starts and where it ends. Hopefully we can solve it. Let's go. Now, this is Locarno Road, Tipton. Now, one of the clues actually start here, where the brook actually begins. Now, all along here, this obviously goes downhill, and the water supply from the brook actually starts in this street. Now we're just going to go and take a look and see where I think it actually begins. Now, this fence line obviously has been here, or most of it has, for as long as I can remember. But this is the actual, I think, is the start of the brook. You can see the water trickling there. You can actually see a trolley there as well, what's been thrown in there by someone. But it goes all the way up there. You can just see it there going up. You'd actually think you'd be sort of excused that you was in the countryside, wouldn't you, really? But that is it. That is what I think is the start of Tipton Brook. Now, where it comes from, I think the start of it comes under Locarno Road. Now, beyond Locarno Road, beyond these houses, you have got Robert Road, Stella Road, and then it goes on to what they call the Cracker, which is just open fields and hills. Now, it doesn't come out anywhere there whatsoever. It just pretty much just ends. So I think that this is where it starts, goes under the ground, and it must come out somewhere in under the ground itself, Stella Road, etc. You know, it must start somewhere under there and come out here. So this is obviously where it all begins. So, I mean, just over here, this is actually private property. This is actually a work. Obviously we can't go on here. This is actually private property. So it goes up along there and onto an housing estate. Now we're going to take a look at that housing estate. So we're going to go on onto there and see another part of it and see what you think. Now this, I feel, is another part of the brook, and this is another housing estate. Now the housing estate itself sits where the former Triplex foundry, or as it was later known as Sigma Cast, used to be. Now we're going to take a look at where I feel part of that brook still exists in the middle of a housing estate, this housing estate. So let's go and take a little gander at what does look as though it's part of a hidden treasure, shall we say, or a hidden mystery of Tipton Brook. Now I'm right in the middle of the housing estate that we've just seen. Now there's quite a few houses on here. This is where the Triplex foundry used to be. Now, with foundries, a lot of people used to say that waste was dumped into the nearest water supply. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if a lot of people know it's true. But this was right in the middle of where the foundry used to be and used to stand. And this obviously had running water going through it. Now, they never filled this in or hired it or sort of built it up so they could build on it. So this was obviously where the brook once run. Now, I think it's probably been diverted and stopped here for some reason. So if you look, there's an opening there. We're just going to go take a look at that. Now, what actually gets me is, if you look, obviously water was running through there or out of there at some point. I feel as though that was part of Tipton Brook, and it ran from here all the way to there and underground and back to the work where we've just seen. Now, it's heading from that direction, and there's no other way that it could be diverted. And why was all this lowered ditch ground here? Now, I feel as though this goes into the direction of Tipton Brook, and we're just going to take a look now at the direction that it's heading for. Now, there is an actual sign here, Wildlife and Open Space at Heritage Gardens. So it's a wildflower meadow and swale and wetland. So the water flow and flooding risk. So when the sort of winter comes, you probably find out that all of this would be flooded. I mean, you get dragonflies here, butterflies, frogs. Someone told me you do get bats here as well, because Tipton, over the last few years, I've saw them myself actually. When it's getting dark, you see bats. So yeah, it's newts. Yes, it does say on there. So if you're interested, you can always take a look at that website. So wildlife does exist in Tipton. There's quite a lot of it around. And we're going to just move on now from this part, what we've just come from, and we're going to head in that direction. And that direction is the direction of where the brook comes out. And I feel it's from here to here. I've got to say, you know, this is actually a lovely time of the year, isn't it, really, with all the colour of the trees and everything. You know, I know a lot of people have trouble with leaves, but it's understandable, but it is a nice time of the year. I've just come opposite the housing estate, and this, I believe, is the route that the actual brook takes under the road and down to here. So up here is where it's more fast flowing, so I imagine it was started again up here at some point, just around this bend, around this corner. Now, this is what I've always thought is the more creepier part of the brook. If you look just here, where we've just come from, I feel as though it comes out just under here. Of course, with brooks you get rats and all sorts. It's actually very creepy, to be fair. I really wouldn't like to fall in there or go under there. You can actually hear the whooshing of water just under there. And with brooks, they don't go like rivers, they actually stop in places and start again somewhere else, I believe. I might be wrong on that, but that's what I've always been led to believe. course, you know, this is the main part. I mean, you can see it's pretty calm. Now all along here, if you're actually lucky enough, you do actually see foxes along here. I've actually seen foxes myself, actually head into the undergrowth all along here. Now when I was at school, you know, me and a few mates would often jump this. But over time, I mean, it has grown up a hell of a lot. Quite a lot actually. It's really overgrown now. Now there is actually another part of the brook, but I feel as though it's from the sides. Now there is a housing estate across here, another housing estate over the back, going from there into here, and you've got this part. Now this is actually a school. This used to be Alexandra High School. It's an academy now, but I feel as though all of the waste sort of comes out into here, into the middle part of the brook. I don't think that's an actual part of the brook, it just comes from where it's got to come from, say a housing estate or a school, and goes to the side into the brook. So yeah, that's actually a strange way of, you know, looking at it really, if you like, of sideways of a brook, and the middle part is the water supply that goes down into the sewers. But this is quite a big area actually. If you come up to here, this is quite a big area of the brook. This is the largest part of it. So if you go straight here, you're actually going into Great Bridge, Tipton. It's the other part of Tipton before you go on to West Bromwich. But all along here, I mean, foxes have been seen as well. I do believe badgers have been seen here, but to be honest, I've never seen a badger. I've been told that badgers have been here, but never actually seen one. And this is the part where I used to, as I mentioned, I used to jump over with mates from school, if you like. And of course this is the larger part, and if you get it this time of the year, I mean it's autumn now, it's coming winter, so you will actually find that it might be higher. So if you do want to jump it, I would take note that probably wait till summertime really, because it's a lot lower. It's really high at the moment. It will get higher than that. It does go actually up to the grass mound on the top. I have seen it that high, you know, when we have stormy weather. It's actually gone into a funny shape there. I thought it was a leak for a minute, but you get all trees and brash and stuff like that actually floating up here. It actually causes ripples. I'm actually surprised I've never ever covered this up for any reason. I don't know why they don't. I suppose I have to keep it like this. Now, an example of the brook itself changing direction, going around the work we've seen near Locarno Road, it just shows that it's not in a straight line, and underground it would actually go in another direction, not straight but round things. And that's another way of looking at that, you can actually see it doesn't actually go straight, it actually goes round, just that part just there. So that is proof and evidence really that it's not straight when it goes underground, the brook. So yeah. Now I've now made it to the last part where the brook ends, and as you can see it's all barred off. You can actually go past it, and it's where the main water supply runs. It actually goes downhill here. So let's go and see a little closer look. This is the more scarier part. You can sort of see what I mean by scarier part, can't you? I mean, look how fast the water's going. I mean, I remember a good few years ago, it's been over 10 years ago at least, this, would you believe, was actually open, and all you had was these top railings. You never had none of these other railings, so if you fell and you went in there, you wouldn't be seen again, most likely. It would be unlikely you would survive. You'd go down there and you would lose your life. It was so dangerous. I mean, I've known gaps in there since, and they've actually, I think it's the waterways, they've actually come along and they've fixed it within a week or two. And you know, it is very dangerous, to be fair, but it is a lot more safer now. There's still a gap on the top there, but yeah, it is very dangerous. I mean, scary to think if you fell in through there, if that wasn't there. But you know, if you look at where it comes from, it is very vast and scary. Now I'm going to follow the trail direct from the main part of the brook and just see the last part of where it all ends. Now the last part of the brook, Tipton Brook, is a bit impossible to get to at the moment. You could get to it up until a few months ago, but unfortunately this has taken effect. It's some sort of building project. You can just see it there. Obviously it's all overgrown and so on, but that is where Tipton Brook ends. You can just see it flowing there, and then goes off underground and ends underground somewhere just before we get to Wednesbury. So that is sort of answering what we've been looking at. We've been trying to find out the beginning and the end. It has been a mystery for some years, but that is my personal opinion on Tipton Brook, that it starts somewhere underneath either Lacana Road, the next streets which are Robert Road, Stella Road, and on to what they always call the Cracker or the Wreck locally, and it goes all the way from that direction around the work and onto here, which is Toll End Tipton, and it ends just here and somewhere underground just before you get to Wednesbury. Hope you've enjoyed this insight into Tipton Brook, trying to solve a long mystery which a lot of people have always wondered all about, where it starts, where it stops. Hopefully that has answered everyone's questions, because I was wondering myself. You know, it has been a mystery for some time now. So basically it's hopefully been solved. Until next time, look after yourselves and each other. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up, And also please remember to subscribe by clicking on the subscribe icon, then the bell, and you'll be notified when each video is uploaded. And please share the video, it all helps. And until next time, thanks for watching and goodbye for now.